Sea Palace high above 2919 East Broadway. This is the Jake Feinberg Show, coming to you live on Power Talk. Please go to our website, powertalk.live. Download our free app and stream all of our live local shows, including the Jim Parisi Show and the Jake Feinberg Show. And we are delighted that you made us part of your day today. Without further ado, I want to bring in a drummer from the Windy City. He also happens to be the cousin of the great trumpeter Miles Davis.
Nephew, not cousin.
Nephew. How you doing, my man?
Hey, Jake, what's going on, brother?
Hey, man, it's great to connect with you.
Yes, finally.
Let me. Can I just ask you about your prediction about the Chicago Cubs this year?
Man, we're taking it, brother.
You don't see, like, I mean, they've been so close before with the Marlins.
The curse is over, Jake. The curse is over.
Okay, so who's going to be their hardest matchup, though?
We don't have one.
Very, very confident Vince Wilburn here. You know, I just kind of wanted to talk to you about, you know, most of my show revolves around the accompanists who played with the original masters, and I know that you're blood related to the great Miles Davis, but I just wanted you to talk a little bit about your trajectory in your career and the most inspirational musical experience you've had this year.
Jake, I just returned. I have a band called the Miles Electric Band, and it consists of alumni who played with Miles. It's not a tribute band like George Wein thinks it is. That's a whole nother interview.
No problem.
But it consists of Daryl Jones on bass. You want the lineup, or you just want me to get right to it?
Dude, we're just riff, man. Just do whatever you want.
Munyungo Jackson on percussion, John Beasley on keyboards, Robert Irving III on keyboards. We had David Gilmour on this run on guitar, but we've had Blackbird McKnight is our guitarist.
Oh, I love. Wait, hold on. Did you say Munyungo?
Munyungo Jackson. We have and Mino Sinelu on percussion.
Wow.
And we have a brother playing tabla. It's either Badal Roy, who played on the corner,
sure,
who's in his 70s, and the chairs float. So you might have Badal, you might have Debashish Chadaroy on tabla. You have Abos Kosimov, who plays this big percussion. So it's 3-4 percussionists on stage at one time. We have DJ Logic, and we have Jeremy Ellis from the Roots on turntable. That alternates too. It's a big band. It's about 11 guys. The trumpet chair, of course, is we had Wallace Roney, Christian Scott. On this run, we had Sean Jones. We've had Etienne Charles. We've had Nick Payton. So, you know, it's a cool gig. So anyway, we were at the Black Sea Jazz Festival in Batumi, Georgia, in the country.
Wow.
And we had 3 encores, man, and it was really moving, you know. This kid, Mono Neon, played bass. He used to play with Prince. He filled in for Daryl Jones. And Antoine Roney on tenor and bass clarinet. It was just incredible, man. And Quincy Jones was Friday night, Miles Electric Band Saturday night, and Lauryn Hill was Sunday night. So it was a great weekend.
What do you have to? What do you think about the idea that melodic improvisation music, improvisational music is just much more well received overseas? I mean, you're pointing out a gig in Georgia. I mean, what's the status of melodic improvisation in the United States of America?
Well, you know, I think if people have open minds, they can receive it. My uncle used to love to play Europe, and that's not to down the fans of my country, our country.
Sure.
I think it could be received all over the world. It's just that if you have to have an open mind. We played San Francisco SF Jazz, and they loved it. You know, it depends on the territory, you know, and the parts of the country, you know. But
do you think that, I mean, when you started, when Miles first came on your radar, and I mean, the point is we live in a very transient time in terms of people's attention span, their focus. I mean, you talk to, I know that post from one of my interviews with Lenny White really resonated with you, but it was like, I mean, 40 years ago, you'd have the touring circuit was alive and well, and bands would stay at a place for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. I'm sure the SF Jazz place is a regal, upscale, beautiful auditorium to see jazz. But I mean, did you play one night, 2 nights, and also
we played 2 shows, if I recall. No, we might have played it was either 2 sets or 1 long set. But I hear what you're saying, Jake.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, let me just finish, because I really want you to riff on this.
Yeah.
The idea is that if people are going to be receptive to it, a one night stand, just like it would be with a girl, is not that rewarding. I mean, you have to be pounding the pavement for 2-3 weeks at a time, even if it's an upholstered sewer. I mean, Miles, Lee Morgan, those cats, they played the London House for a month at a time. Not only that, the music became more spiritual after.
Yeah.
Okay,
agreed.
so I'm just saying. I know we can't go back, but I'm just trying to gauge for somebody who's in the moment. Like, is there the ability to be less transient in this time as far as improvisational music is concerned?
I think you can do it more in Europe than you can in the States. With our agent, we have a new agent. We can't get like some guys are doing residencies. Like Steve Coleman came here, alto player from Chicago. He did a residency at the Blue Well in L.A. It's few and far between. Europe will be more receptive to residencies and longer, multiple hits like. Ronnie Scott's in London. You got the Blue Notes in Japan, and it's not like it used to be, man. As you we could go to the Bottom Line in New York. You had the Jazz Showcase, Joe Siegel's, and they had longer runs. Keystone Corner in San Francisco. Paul's Mall in Boston.
Right.
It's a different time, man. Shit, they don't even have record stores anymore, let alone. You could, and then they had multiple bills. Remember that, Jake? In full disclosure, man, I was born in 1978, so I really don't remember those times. I caught the tail end of the Masters. I mean, I think I saw Elvin and Bobby Hutcherson, rest in peace. Oh shit, yeah, okay.
At Scullers. But Paul's. That's the whole. That's why my shows resonated. I'd be kind of ashamed of myself if I was trying to relive my past. I mean, the truth is, I am trying to promote how real music is made so that future generations know how it's made. I guess in general, when do you feel, I mean, every show is electric and obviously you have changing chairs, so it makes it interesting, but can you talk about I guess when I talked about inspiration, I meant like a really spiritual experience on the bandstand when, when the music, it transcended the physical body, so to speak.
Well, what we do is we know the forms of the songs. We know what we're going to play, but it takes a life of its own. We're not Jack DeJohnette. We're not Tony Williams. We're not Herbie Ron Wayne. It's our interpretation of the music as we interpret it, as we play with Miles, and the freedom that we have on stage. We had to do a runner. After the show, you have to get in the van and make the flight. So we had to do that in Batumi. So the set change, we had to alter it because of time constraints, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we always have a bass solo right before Jean Pierre, and Mono Neon, this kid from Dwayne, he's all over YouTube. He took a solo, Jake, and the shit was like he blew everybody away. And I say that because in the set list, his solo didn't come for another 2-3 songs, but it was totally like stuck him out there, bam, and people went nuts. And what we try to do, we try to. It's improvisation and it's exciting, and sometimes we don't know where it's going to go, and it always ends up, like Wayne Shorter says, music, without a net.
Absolutely.
That's the fun of it, man. You rely on the cast to come through for you, like a team of Michael Jordans and shit. You're gonna have like, damn, you got the ballers, all-star team.
Right. How do you account for your
Sorry.
yeah, it's fine. No, it's fine. The can you give your definition of improvisation? A lot of people think that improvisation in jazz or in melodic music is like you play a standard and then you have a solo and then you improvise. But actually, I think improvisation is you really don't know what you're going to play next. And
yeah, I mean it's improvisation is you probably know the structure, but you don't know. You wanna rely on your instincts of the instrument and listening to each other collectively to come to this conclusion. You know what I mean? It's like working out a math problem with a group of cats, and you at the end of the damn math problem, all you guys are like is synchronicity, But shit, to get to that math problem and get to that answer, who the hell knows? And it's like being broken up in groups. But the only thing when you're with a band, you're not broken up in a group. You're like you're reaching, and reaching and reaching. That's why my uncle he never stopped the tape running in the studio. The tape constantly rolled. Constantly, you know what I mean? You can't do that now because of budget. But Uncle Miles he let the tape roll and then he would go back. If he would leave the session, we would take the tapes over on at the end of the session. We'd have cassettes or something for him to listen to, and he would form these minuets, for a lack of better words, to form these records, these
right.
songs. And it was like a mad scientist just to witness that shit alone. How he heard music inside of the music. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Well, I was going to ask you if you could talk about give an example of these vignettes, especially when you were, when you started to get in the studio with Uncle Miles.
Did I say vignettes? What did I say? Minuet? What the hell did I say?
Vignettes?
Anyway,
Wait, it doesn't matter. I mean, can you?
You know what I'm saying?
No, I just give us for the audience all over the world. Give a specific example.
Like bass lines, man. He'd hear a bass line. He'd hear like something Bob Berg would play, or something like a Bobby Irving riff, and he'd make a song out of that. I mean, and it would freak us out, man. Or we'd rehearse, and he said, "Okay, I want you guys to try this or try this." At rehearsal, and on the bandstand, it always worked, Jay. It blew our minds because we would look at each other at rehearsal and say, "Really, he wants us to do this, do that? He wants us to try this, try that?" But the shit was on point. It was always on point, man.
Sure.
As a band leader, you have to have that uncanny knack. Everybody's not a Miles Davis, but you know where you want to take your band and what you hear in your head and what you want to try with the guys and what you want to. If you got a group of cats who are open to try things, shit, the sky's the limit.
No,
you got to have a group of guys who want to go there with you.
Right. I mean, when did you first start to really observe your uncle as a leader of a band? Like, when was it with Michael Henderson and those cats, or was it before then?
When I was 5 years old, with Tony and Ron and Herbie.
Can you? Okay, that's unbelievable. So can you talk about this idea of going back into time, what they were doing as far as a rhythm section, insofar as
well, I mean, yeah. I mean, he picked these cats because he to give them the freedom to shape the music, and he used to tell Herbie, "I don't pay you to rehearse. I pay you to rehearse on stage," and that's pretty prolific, man. That's rehearse on stage, because you're trying new things. The music evolves, and all the cats I know that play with Miles, including myself, that's what they want. That's where they want to take the music. Lenny, Herbie, Ron, Wayne. You've seen Wayne with Brian Blade, and those cats, they go out there,
what I'm fascinated about is when you talk about freedom to shape the music. My generation and younger generations, the rhythm section is supposed to lock the groove. But
Mm-hmm.
with your uncle, a lot of times they'd play free and they'd shape the music. And I think that they were probably one of the first rhythm sections to ever do that. And I'm just curious as to how you've incorporated that into your drumming style, because a lot of people, if they're the band leader, they're in the front and the accompanists are in the back. But your uncle was more like, listen, I brought these cats in so that they could put their own personal voice on the music, and that speaks to ego. And so I wanted you to talk a little bit about the ego component to music and how important the rhythm section is to shaping
Well,
music.
Jay, I mean, you know, in different bands that he had, like when we were in the band, it was about, fuck, he got me the big payback. He said he wants me to, James Brown.
Sure.
And he was in the James Brown and Buddy Miles. And he was, I heard he was telling Jack and Al, about the funk. And so it was loose, but it had some funk overtures, man. I mean, Michael Henderson was a Motown bassist. And he put Michael Henderson together with Keith Jarrett, you know what I mean? Which was like, that alone was some bad shit, So what you want to do is what we're trying to do. What I'm trying to do is have the element of the funk, and have some outside shit, with Antoine and Sean Jones' way of thinking, and Bobby. I call Bobby the mad scientist, Robert Irving III. And Daryl's got these big ears. He play anything. We take chances. I mean, you just gotta have you gotta surround yourself with guys who are fearless. You gotta, man, Google this kid Mono Neon. This kid is fearless, man. He'll play any damn thing. He played with Prince, and Prince, let him loose.
Yeah, rest in peace. We're talking to Vince Wilburn Jr. here. I wanted to just talk to you about, where do you want to grow most as a musician? I mean, is it in the going back deeper in the lineage of music? Is it leadership? Is it are you fighting anything right now? I think it's important to talk to people, younger cats out there who maybe don't know who Michael Henderson and Keith Jarrett are. And they don't understand the significance of blending those two. If you could talk about some adversity that you're either experiencing or that you've overcome, how you did it, and ultimately how it made you stronger.
I think the young cats have a voice of their own. The Thundercats and I went to I dig Robert Glasper and his band. I mean it's a bunch of guys. Flying Lotus, this kid Justin Brown. A lot of the young drummers are kicking ass, man. Justin Brown from Oakland, he plays with Thundercat. Ron Bruner Jr.
Right. My question was, could you talk about some adversity that you faced in your career, how you overcame it, and how you made you stronger?
Well, adversity for me was. Let me see. Me being Miles' nephew, but I wasn't hired for nepotism. You know what I mean?
No, I don't. I don't know. Can you unpack that? I don't know what that means.
Well, me being Miles' nephew, and he flew my band. We had a band in Chicago, and in my mom's basement, and he used to call my mother and have us rehearse. I mean, we would rehearse, and he would listen to our rehearsal, and then he would critique us, And we would rehearse in my mom's basement every day because we had gigs on the weekend. So Uncle Miles would call just to get a vibe and tell us what, you guys should work on this, play this. Randy, why don't you try, cats in the band, try this, try that. And then one day he said, hey, man, you guys want to make a record? And he flew us to New York, and we made Man with the Horn. Not, adversity. I didn't have, I was always thrown out there, and you had to sink or swim, So it was a little different for me.
Well, I mean, but you have to drown before you can swim. You have to.
I mean, everybody in the band, we were drowning and trying to save our asses every night,
Right.
Uncle
No,
Miles
I mean,
was
I just
going
that's
to like
I want you to go, if you can go back to that time and when you were on the bandstand and you were, how ultimately, you know.
Hey Jake, you know what? When you out there with Miles, you didn't have time. You couldn't drown. You had to swim. Some way you had to figure this shit out. You know what I mean? And each and every one of us, we figured it out. And he would guide us, man. He had the board tapes every night, and he'd have us come to his suite, and he said, Vince, tonight you play this, but tomorrow night try this. Bobby, on the keyboards, I want you on this. Daryl, play this note. Don't answer yourself. He would say things like that. Don't answer yourself.
Right.
And then leave us to figure that shit out every night. Don't answer yourself. And we got it. So he just gave you a little bit of rope, and it was up to you to not hang yourself. To listen to what he said and apply it,
Right. I mean, going back to this idea of nepotism or the idea that family, can you talk about the idea of, I mean, you hinted at adversity when you talked about having to sort of delineate between, no, I'm actually a bad drummer, I have chops, versus I'm family. Can you talk about how you became more secure with that, or if that was an issue for a minute?
Never an issue. He hired me for what I could do. You know what I mean? He wanted the funk, I gave him the funk. He wanted my boys, I was comfortable with my boys because that's what we came up playing and listening to. Plus, he had schooled me to fucking listen to James Brown. He said he sent me to James. He said, learn this back and forth. He loved Buddy Miles, so he had me listen and play, Band of Gypsies.
Right.
So I played that. Then he loved Al Jackson, who played with on all that Stax music. Played with Otis Redding.
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah.
And he loved Al Jackson. So shit, man, that's what I was grooving on. In addition to Jack, Tony, Lenny, Al, Elvin. So, and all of my boys, we were like sponges coming up in Chicago, man. We go down to the record store and chip in and buy one record and come home and dissect that motherfucker, listen to it and analyze it. And do surgery on that mug.
Right.
And then radio was so accessible. They had a WXRT in Chicago had something called Live from the Agora Ballroom. And we would record like Larry Coryell with Alphonse Mouzon, McCoy, Return to Forever, the Headhunters. And then that's when I was saying about the multiple band concerts with all these bands. You could go and see Herbie and Return to Forever and Larry Coryell, or one night we went to see Billy Cobham and Nard and Michael Walden. They don't have that anymore. So you could get it from the records, and you can get it from the live concerts. And we would always go backstage, and meet the cats. So when Miles calls, any musician would tell you when Miles calls, you have to be ready. Nephew or no damn nephew, and you have to come through.
No, I dig. I also wanted to, as a drummer, I talked to a lot of the cats about this concept, and I think on the bandstand with Miles, you never played the same tune once. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about the people are fixated nowadays. A lot of live music. I mean, you talked about these amazing bills where you'd go see Latin rock, jazz, folk, all on the same bill. Your ears were not locked. It was wide open. Radio was wide open. And I just wanted to get your concept of the idea of that any note can be the one. People are very fixated on, you got to know where the one is. You got to know where the one is. But with Miles, you get lost in the middle of a jam somewhere. And if you get lost, you can find your way home because any note can be the one. And I just wanted to get I want you to riff on that if you think there's credibility and value in that, in your music and in general, any note can be the one.
Jake, if you weren't on a one or you got lost, he would let you know. He would grab you. His ears were so in tune. He would know if the shit wasn't grooving. He'd know it in a second. He said because he
he walks by the beat. You know what I mean? As a kid, he walked by the beat. He listened to the rhythm of trains and and being in New York. Not growing up in New York, he grew up in St. Louis, East St. Louis. But he said rhythms all around you. I even have him saying that on a track, you know. And he instilled that in us, man, with all these grooves, with Sly, man. He loved Sly. He loved Prince, you know. He loved James, man. He loved Cameo. He played with Cameo. He played on a couple of tracks with Cameo. I played with Cameo, you know. And so you got a cat who changed the course of music 4 or 5 times, but he was digging the funk and digging classical and digging flamenco music, you know. I mean, shit.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm just trying to get to the could you talk a little bit about the band this electric band, for the audience out there, especially, aside from DJ Logic or electronic, people spinning records or electronic music, how does this band not a Miles Davis cover band? How is it different?
Because we don't approach it like that. We don't approach the music like that. We put our personality into this great music that my uncle created. You know what I mean? We're not like I said, we're not Herbie Jack, we're not Gary Bartz, we're not Chick, but we have our own way of approaching the music, and it's some, we don't fuck around. This shit is serious. It's sacred. And we just come at it and we approach it that way, in a way that we're proud when we come off stage. You know what I mean?
Well, what is that?
Way,
yeah, I think everybody, like you said, when Miles calls, you got to be ready to play. I think everybody approaches it in a sacred way. But if you could talk specifically about how you approach it, and that is in your own style, that would be great.
Jake, if Miles called you and said, "I want you to make a record,"
right,
and I want you to be at CBS Studios or Electric Lady or United Audio tomorrow at 2:00. Fuck, man, what are you going to do, Jake? You're going to show up, you're going to have your A game, and you're going to try to give the man what he wants. And every musician, I heard he called Jimmy Cobb and said, "Hey, man, I want you to make a gig, be in Boston in 2 hours." Or D.C., wherever the gig was. So he had to take his drum to the shuttle. Back then they had shuttles from New York to Boston. Set the shit up, not know the music, and play. You got to be ready when your number's called. And most of the guys that play with my uncle, when their number was called, they had to come at it. Come with it. And when he flew us to New York to do Man with the Horn, shit, let's go. You can't say no.
Well, I mean, it was an opportunity of a life. It was an opportunity of a lifetime. But I mean, I'm.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Jake, what you gonna say? Well, Miles, let me get back to you. Hell no.
No. I mean, listen. I also know that. I mean, listen. I've interviewed so many cats that like McLaughlin. I think I've done 3 interviews with him, and he talked about your uncle. I mean, Miles literally put money in his pocket when McLaughlin first came over here. I mean, that guy had a tremendous. Helen Merrill said Miles was the sweetest guy in the world. I mean, he had a huge heart as well. He was
people don't know that, Jay. He cared
a lot. A lot.
He didn't fucking try to embarrass you, he wanted you to succeed. He used to call my mother and say, "Your son played his ass off," and that's the biggest motherfucking acknowledgement of gratitude I could ever pray and wish for. Or when Miles said, "You play your ass off," and he's telling my mom and other cats, "That's my nephew, played his ass off tonight." What else? That's it. That's the holy grail. That's the shit. And believe me, I try to give it to him every night so he could say that.
So much is going on in my head right now. I just, the John Handy quintets of the early 60s, your uncle, Train, Cannonball, a lot of that music was black national music. It was the idea of staking claim to your rights, standing up against racism and bigotry, and a lot of that it was, I mean, for the most part, through the 70s, jazz was primarily a black art form. I'm curious about, outside of the technical chops and the sacred quality of the music and your adherence to it, I mean, are you planning on doing anything, or do you guys do any kind of consciousness awareness festival music? I mean, I just know that Miles opened up for the Panthers in Oakland. I mean, he was out there with Hugh Masekela. The guy was everybody was putting their own stamp, sociological stamp, and the times we're living in now are quite precarious. And I just wanted to know if you guys, I mean, if you're aware of that on the stage, if you're trying to continue that lineage, and if you are planning on doing any kind of, if you do any concerts based on the awareness of the significance of the historical significance of the music.
Jake, you know what I do? I hire cats because I hire cats from all around the world because I hear a global sound in my head. I'm not trying to make a remake of jazz, We Are the World. It's just that I can hear a fucking guy from Kazakhstan. I can hear a guy from Peru. I can hear Jeremy Ellis from Detroit. He's from Detroit. I saw this kid do some scratches with the Roots, you know, the band from Fallon Show. And I dug his shit. He's a white cat with red hair. And Logic got his shit, you know what I mean? And all the trumpeters that come to play with us, you know, Etienne is from Trinidad, so he's got another flavor. Nick Payton's from New Orleans, he's got another flavor. Wallace Roney from Philly, he's playing something different. You know, so what I try to do, I hear cats from around the world playing with Miles Electric, or us taking the music somewhere else, just based on where you come from and what your cultural vibe is on your instrument. You know what I mean? You know, it's weird, man, because Daryl doesn't play like Mono Neon. Daryl's got that Chicago shit. Mono's from this kid. He's from Memphis. You know, and his dad's a bass player. You know, it's wild, man. And when we come together, it's some other shit. Blackbirds, you know, I dug him with the Headhunters. He started with George Clinton. He plays the funk. Then you got David Gilmour, who's a bad motherfucker that was recommended by Vernon Reed. You know, I asked Vernon to do the gig. Sure. Vernon said, "Hey man, call David Gilmour, not the Pink Floyd David Gilmour, the other dude."
No, I did. I mean, actually, I'm digging. I need to get to Blackbird, man. I mean, we hooked up one.
Man, I got you hooked up. I'll give you his number.
No, but I just want you. Do you feel any? Believe me, jazz is now a world music. Okay, it's and the competition is even that much greater because you got cats that can play all over the world, and you don't have that touring circuit the way you used to have it. And except we've been through that. But do you feel like do you feel in your head you have a world sound, you have a beat in your head, and do you feel like that you have an obligation to educate the younger cats? I mean, we're going through, we're living through a historical time, and you know that.
Yes.
Yeah. Go
ahead.
And
I have discussion, not to cut you off, I have discussions with the young cats. And I say, hey, man, you know, to have chops and play all this shit that you play, that's a motherfucker. But at the end of the day, you want to play the music. You guys want to play with each other, you know. And then when your light shine, I mean, you know, when you get your spotlight, then play all your shit. But then go back and play collectively, you know.
Right.
As bad as Herbie, Tony, Wayne, and Ron were, and Miles, fuck, man, they played the music. You know what does that make sense?
Absolutely. No, I mean, I think it makes sense. I know what you're saying. I mean, are you saying that teamwork is essential? Listening, big ears are essential to cultivation of real music.
It's essential, Jake. It's essential.
Right. And what's and your opinion, you know, I got, you know, how has electronic music, especially digital music, the crunching of the music into digital beats, drum track, has that hurt younger cats' abilities to have bigger ears? I mean, I'm doing a documentary. I'm producing a documentary on Stan Getz right now. Stan Getz was on.
You know why?
Yeah.
The young cats I know, the young musicians I know, they always go to they can rely on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, and the YouTube shit,
like I've they call me Uncle Vince. And I say, "What's up, nephew?" They say, "Well, man, we caught you on YouTube." YouTube is like they don't have the concerts where they can go and see cats play for 3 and 4 nights, so they go to YouTube. And one thing I do say about the cats, the young cats, hey man, they're open-minded. Chris Bowers, bad motherfucker on piano, bad kid, man. He won the I think he won the Thelonious Monk Institute Award. You got so many young cats who are open-minded and are like sponges, and that's a good thing. And they're respectful of the music and the people who came before them, just as we are.
But can you explain to the audience the difference between absorbing stuff on? I mean, you talked about buying a vinyl record, which is really the only stuff I listen to. And I only buy original. I don't care if it's smashed up or banged up. I'll just listen to. I don't buy reissues. You talk about the original vinyl versus YouTube and the compression, the hyper compression of rhythm is disturbing. I think that's one reason it's really cool that you have maybe 4 or 5 different layers of rhythm going on. But can you explain how the absorption of digital beats has affected people's ability to let music breathe? I mean, I feel sometimes I'm watching cats, huge chops, but they can't take a breath. They can't make the music can't breathe.
Jake, you know what that is? That's called. You got to see. I've been blessed to listen to music from Mali. I've been to Africa 2-3 times. I have friends who play with Salif Keita. I love Tony Allen. With the
Taylor. Yeah.
See, you got to have an open mind. And I was a sponge when I was 4, 5, 6. I'm a sponge now. If you come over my house, I got fucking vinyl. And we'll be crate digging and pulling vinyl and music and see if if you instill that in these young cats, man, they'll get it and they'll have it and they'll appreciate it and apply it. I call Lenny White to this day and say, "Hey Lenny, tell me what the Bitches Brew sessions were like. Lenny, did you mix No Mystery? Did you mix this? Man, what the hell were you thinking about when you mixed Return to Forever?" Because Chick and them, trusted Lenny's ears. Or when Lenny mixes his own records that I've been privy to be a part, to
absolutely
check out.
Absolutely.
Because but Jake, you gotta have that hunger and that thirst and that and wanting to know and feel that shit. This is sacred, man. You can't bullshit the music.
No, do you believe that?
Not you.
No, I dig. I totally dig, man.
We can't bullshit, and it's up to you and I, Jake, and the listeners to dig deep, go into your history, man. I've got some cassettes of Elvin Jones, man, that fucking mess people up. Instead of going to my prom, I went to see Jack DeJohnette in Evanston, Illinois. But you gotta you gotta sacrifice. You gotta broaden, open up your mind, man, and dig all these different groups, man. I was listening to Doyle Bramwell's new record with James Gatson on it.
Oh.
When I look at James Gatson, it's like I said, Mr. Gatson. I call him Mr. Gatson. But you gotta, Ndugu. I call Ndugu the Godfather. Harvey Mason. It's like, come on, man.
I've interviewed them all multiple times in the same format that we're doing because, I mean, here's the thing. How do you sacrifice or seek in 2016 when everything is basically readily available for you and we're saturated with more information than we've ever had? How do you talk to how do people sacrifice? How do they dig deep when everything's available at their fingertips?
You keep having shows like you're having. You teach, man. You share. When I'm on Facebook, I'm fucking talking about everybody. Duke Ellington, motherfucker. Duke Ellington, man. Count Basie, man.
it's limitless, man. And the cool thing about it, you can go there. You can go anywhere. You can dig and you can get the music. You can. There's still a few music stores that you can buy vinyl, man. If you're a vinyl head like you and I go to Amoeba on the regular. I used to be a regular at Tower Records. And Tower Records in the Village, man. I don't know if you've ever been there.
That's where I started collecting CDs.
Man,
yes,
come on,
yeah.
Jay.
No,
come
I
on,
did.
Jay.
No, listen. I mean,
so you know.
Yeah.
And then, man, when I used to go to New York as a teenager, I would go to the newsstand and get a Village Voice, right? And after being with Uncle Miles until he was going, he'd go out or he'd just go to sleep or chill, I'd hit that fucking train, subway, and go down to the Village. And you could go to the Vanguard and catch Al. You could go across the street to Sweet Basil and catch Elvin. Go down to Sweet 7th Avenue South and catch whoever was playing there, Will Lee or Steve Gadd. Then you come back uptown to a club called McHale's and see Lonnie listens, whoever's playing there, But we don't have that anymore. So you got to make do with what you have,
That's right.
What access you have to these outlets. You don't have the clubs anymore. You don't have the clubs like that where you can go in a 2, 3, 4 block radius. See all these heroes, So I'm glad I came up when I came up, but I'm constantly trying to share with the younger cats. Hey man, you don't have those clubs, but you got this.
That's I agree with you 100%. What is this? When you say you have this, what do you
you have the YouTubes. You have fucking guys like me and you and Lenny and Dougal to call and get. And
I did.
What you
Totally, dude. I love it because you nailed it. Because I'll tell you, I said, how can I let this stuff breathe? I've been doing this 5 years. I love vinyl. I love the music. I said, I literally reached inside the records and pulled these cats out. And said, well, let's just start rapping about it because I'm not a musician. I think you're right. You have to be very industrious to a degree. Can you talk about, how your uncle, we touched on it a little bit earlier, but I haven't actually seen the film, the documentary yet, but I was curious about if you could talk about your uncle's concept of love and how he exhibited love to you. If you could share a story about that.
Just guiding me, just telling me, hey man, take this music seriously. And I watch him sacrifice his family, his kids. It was always music first. You can't bullshit the music, Jay. You can not you. When I say you, I mean us.
I know.
We can bullshit in other facets of our life. But if you're a serious musician or you love music, don't bullshit it. Give it 110% every day. He was the first one to wake up in the morning, the last one to go to sleep at night. I witnessed the shit on the daily when I lived with him, and that rubbed off on all of us. And I'm like, damn, man, this man loved and lived this music to the day he made his transition. So that's the blueprint on the way I want to live my life. I'm not going to fuck around and waste time bullshitting. It's going to be about the music and take this music seriously and take life seriously. A lot of people don't know Uncle Miles was in the stock, investments, watching your money, all that shit. Practicing, playing the piano. He had, it wasn't about money. Shit, he had a house in Malibu, 2 Ferrari in New York and L.A., homes on Malibu, a big-ass crib in New York. So it was about the music. Those were just the fruits of his labor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I know you talked to Lenny. My first interview with Lenny, he talked about in Bitches a Brew. He was on the trap set, and he could not get the groove that your uncle wanted. And,
right.
And then Don Elias got up there, started playing a very simple groove.
Right.
And Lenny was playing the shaker.
Right.
And at the end of the session, he
told Lenny, Lenny, you ain't getting the chicken.
Well, and I mean, that was one of the first interviews the passages that I ever transcribed and on Facebook, that thing blew up like, I mean, it was shared hundreds of times. You ain't getting the chicken. And then, but here's the seminal part of it is that at the end of the session, Lenny was feeling pretty dejected, rightfully so, you know, and Miles walked up and he's like, what's matter, man? What's wrong? You know, and Lenny's like, man, it was so simple. I don't know why I couldn't work that stuff out. And Miles just sort of looked at him and said, man, you did great. You just come back tomorrow. You're doing good. I mean, to me, it was like there was a managerial. It was a John Madden. That's the manager of the Cubs, right? That's his name, right?
Joe Madden.
Joe Madden. Yeah, it's like a Joe Madden. There's a managerial component to being a leader, and that is about showing love. You know, I mean, did he ever like get you to refocus yourself out of the doldrums if you were feeling down on yourself, and then he was able to?
Man, shit, no, because it was so fresh and inviting every night. You couldn't get down. You were just waiting for the next night because once he critiqued you, he wants you to try something different and shit. So you couldn't wait till the next night to try the new shit he laid on you. You know what I mean?
Can you give an example? Do you remember a new thing that he laid on you that was just totally
it could be anything from an open hi-hat to don't play no fucking rolls, you know. He didn't want no fills and shit.
Right.
He's like, man, fuck those fills.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Play the groove. And man, to see him smile, you know, to play that funky shit and to see him smile. And to see Daryl smile, because Daryl and I came up on it together, man. And once that shit was locking, oh, Jay, come on, man.
Hey, man.
That was butter. That was
just
butter,
cooking, just cooking the groove.
Yeah.
I dig it. Do you feel that you've built in this? Do you have like a following in Chi-Town, and what are some of the good clubs that you feel like people can still come, as Art Blakey said, and you can wash away the dust of everyday life for regular cats?
Joe Siegel's son, not to cut you off, Joe Siegel's son, Wayne Siegel, I heard is still has the jazz showcase. It's changed locations, but it's still happening. I heard it was a place in Evanston that's pretty cool. They got some places on the south side that are cool. You know, there's always some places to play. You know, those are places that's off the top of my head. I'm going to Chicago tomorrow. So if you want to call me back on the next interview, or I could just email you, there's some cool spots on the south side where I grew up, you know, that I heard that are kicking, you know?
You heard, you heard. So
I haven't experienced it.
But so you're based in LA right now, is that right?
I am.
Okay, so that in itself is unbelievable. I think there's Catalina's, the Blue Whale, I guess.
Oh yeah, Catalina's, Blue Whale downtown.
Right.
You know, you got some spots, man. Herb Alpha's spot, Vibrato.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I just inherently to me, your uncle growing up in East St. Louis, the culture was on the streets. Jazz was a street music. And most cats aren't driving into the hills of. I went to Herb Albert's club. It was closed the night I went, but I mean that's a trek. I mean, how do you bring, in your own way, how do you bring the music to regular cats? Because this is not like this is not a music made for the upper crust. Except somehow it's been put into that.
But Jay, it has to be word of mouth. You know, we have to go get the music. You know, sometimes you have to seek the music out. We play the Hollywood Bowl. I had a band. It was a place called Hal's in Venice, and I had a Monday night band there with Kamasi Washington, who's going on to do big things.
Oh yeah.
You know, Ed Livingston. I had a great band, Brandon Coleman. It's just that you got to pick your spot. You know.
Yeah.
And create your own avenue, create your own spots to express yourself. You know, Blue Whale is a cool spot. I've never played there, but I had my shit. I tried my shit out at Hal's, man, with my cat. You know, but there's always a place to go and release it. You know, release what's in your mind and share things that you want to express on your instrument. You'll always find a club to do that.
in our remaining moments here with Vince Wilburn, part one here of our interview, it's been just a ball talking to this guy. You got a sailor's mouth too, man, just cursing like crazy.
I'm sorry, man.
No,
sorry.
I mean, dude, this is extraterrestrial radio. We're all over the world, but it's fine. I mean, listen, this is jazz. But do you?
Now, you know, Miles hated that word. He loves social music.
Listen. It's not about it's not the mode. He said it's not the mode, it's the mood, and that's the truth.
And please tell the listeners, forgive me for, sometimes I get overzealous.
Well, I mean, you're cool, man. Listen. Can you talk about? Are you proud of Barack Obama as our president?
No, you're trying to get. Oh, we're talking politics. Yes, I am.
Yeah, no. What I'm trying to say.
Hey,
is
he's got Miles on his playlist. Hell yeah.
Well, no, I mean, but just stepping back, I mean, he gets pretty much demonized by white media. So I'm just trying to talk to you about why you're proud of him.
Because he's fucking. Look what he's done. I mean, he let me see. How can I put this? I mean, he had the country was in shambles, and I think the pressures that were put on him. I think that he did a remarkable job for 2 terms. I do. I voted for him.
Absolutely, so did I.
Yeah.
I mean, in your perspective, you think that because my impression is he's going to have like an 85 or 90% approval rating in 2 years when he's out of office. I don't know why we demonize the people. I don't care who gets elected next time. They're going to be there's a legion now, either side. There's no more real ability to work together, and even the more moderate people don't speak out. And I just wonder if you're much older. You're older than me. Have we really made progress in this country from a civil rights point of view in your mind since, going back to when your uncle was,
Hey, man, we got a long ways to go, Jay. We got a long ways to go. There's progress, but we have a long ways to go.
How much do you think that music can still play a role in, because people, listen, I mean, your electric band can't camp out for a month at Shelley's Manhole. Okay?
Right.
You can't build a community anymore in that way. It can be virtual. Like when I take some of these stories minus the cuss words, I'll be throwing them up on Facebook. Vince Wilburn will be getting people fired up in a virtual sense, but how much can music still drive social consciousness?
I think that it's up to the individual to have an open mind to be able to want to make a change. I can't agree or disagree with Colin doing the kneeling during the national anthem.
Right.
Because my dad was a Buffalo soldier, and he served his country. He was a military career man. My dad stood up on the national anthem when the national anthem was played on television and saluted. But you've got this man. We don't know what's inside Colin's head, Kaepernick. So what's good for him might not be good for me.
Well, more importantly,
what's good for me might not be good for him.
But what about this? I mean, the idea that you talk about seeking and finding salvation and going deep and digging deeper. I mean, this cat was saying these things on social media, and they weren't getting any traction. I mean, he put his
what you talking
about Colin Kaepernick. He was voicing these.
Hey, Jake. You know what? Hey, man. We as human beings, we have to figure out our existence.
Mm-hmm.
We have to figure out how to all get along, how to share. Man, I grew up in Chicago, the South Side. I went to a predominantly white private high school. One of my best friends was Polish, Joe Jurassic. He's my boy. They call me Ahmad Rashad. And I never looked at him like it was oh, this is a white dude, I'm a black dude. Man, we were just brothers. And to this day, we still tight. So you got to figure out you got to navigate, or we have to navigate as brothers through life and have some unity, man. I've got bad cop friends. I got good cop friends. They're bad cops. They're good cops. You know, but my good cop friends outweigh my bad cop friends. You know, or bad cops that you read and that with this all these killings and you know. But I got to support my brothers who are on the force trying to save and protect people. You know, they're not bad guys. I've known them since we were kids. You know, so you got to pick and choose, man. You know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I actually support Kaepernick in the sense that he wasn't getting any traction through. People say, well, why does he have to do it during this very patriotic time? Why can't he just do it some other way? He was. But he's still searching. He had to find his own path, and he was able to. He might have stuck a finger in the eye of some people, but he certainly he started a dialogue and he got the attention. He's a backup quarterback. So, I mean, I applaud him because you have to seek, you have to be somewhat antagonistic to get your point across nowadays.
Hey, Jake, I don't think he's doing it for attention.
No way.
You know, like the brothers John Carlos and those guys that raised the fist. I don't think they did that for attention. It was a symbol. They believed in something, and this was the way to open up the dialogue to get to change shit. When Dr. King, when Rosa Parks didn't get up and give her seat up, you know, she didn't do that she did that because she wanted to make a stand. Dr. King, you know, with the sit-ins, those were to make Muhammad Ali, you know. It's to make change. People wake up, you know.
Right.
That's what we got to do, man. You know. I'll call you and say, "Hey, Jake," or I'll text you and say, "Man, fuck, man, Jake, listen to Favorite Things again. My favorite things are in trend. But listen to, you know what I mean? Listen to it with the lights, with a candle lit or something. Just something like, man, you've probably heard Favorite Things 50 million times, but approach it another way. Or let's step outside the box. How does Colin really feel about it and the national anthem? Does it make it right? But we got to see his point of view. We might not like it, but let's be open to hear him. You know. No,
I think yeah, but I think that, but not to be naive, I think that is what's the lack of real legitimate discourse is what's hurting our country right now, and I think that
we gotta come together, man. We gotta come together. It's easier to come together than to be apart. I think.
Well, I think also. I think focusing on the idea of there's more good than evil bad cop. There's more good than bad. Then those good ones have to come together and be more outspoken towards the bad. And
hey, man, we need to open up the dialogue. The cops go into the neighborhoods, and if you could talk to a kid, talk to a kid. You know, so he doesn't fear you when you come in his neighborhood. You know, or vice versa. Hey, guys, respect the cops. You know, don't be talking about F you, you know.
Right.
This, you know, that's not going to – who wins? No one wins.
Vince Wilburn Jr.
Man, when I get pulled over, my hands are on my steering wheel, and I ask the cop, can I reach into the glove compartment for my registration? Do you mind? Is it okay? You know, why would I smart off when I get pulled over? What does that prove? Who wins?
Well, we're just getting cooking here with Vince Wilburn. Listen, let's plan to do part 2 real soon, man. I had a ball with you today, man.
Hey, Jay, call me anytime, bro.
Love always, man.
Call me anytime.
I'll get you a copy of this as soon as possible.
Okay, man. Yeah. Peace and love, huh?
All right. Love always.
Okay, brother.
Cheers, man.
Talk to you soon.
Peace.
Bye.
We'll be right back with Reed Mathis on the Jake Feinberg Show.